What I'm about to explain today may honestly surprise a lot of people watching this video, because one of the most dangerous sleep mistakes adults over 50 make every single night often feels completely normal while it's happening. It doesn't feel dangerous. It doesn't feel dramatic. In fact, many people believe they're simply getting older. They wake up tired. They wake up foggy. They need caffeine immediately. Their memory feels slower. Their blood pressure keeps climbing. Their anxiety feels worse. Their body aches more. Their energy crashes during the afternoon. And somewhere along the way, they start believing this is just part of aging. But here's the problem. For millions of adults over 50, the real issue may not be aging itself. It may be what's quietly happening during sleep. And honestly, doctors are becoming increasingly concerned about how many older adults are unknowingly damaging their brain, heart, metabolism, immune system, and nervous system every single night without realizing it. Because one dangerous sleep mistake is now being linked to inflammation, accelerated cognitive decline, cardiovascular stress, poor blood sugar regulation, hormone disruption, depression, memory issues, and even increased mortality risk in older adults. And the worst part? Most people never see it coming. My name is Dr. Scott Levin, and for more than 15 years, I've worked with adults dealing with sleep disorders, cardiovascular disease, metabolic dysfunction, chronic fatigue, inflammation-related conditions, and aging-related health changes that often overlap in ways most people never expect. And today, I want to walk you through something incredibly important. Why sleep quality after 50 matters far more than most people realize. The dangerous mistake doctors are warning seniors about. The hidden biological damage poor sleep creates inside the body. And most importantly, what you can begin doing to protect your health without fear or panic. Because this conversation is not about scaring people, it's about awareness, calm awareness. Because once you understand what poor sleep actually does inside the aging body, you start looking at nighttime very differently. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. How many hours do you usually sleep each night? And when you wake up in the morning, do you genuinely feel rested? Or do you still feel exhausted even after spending enough time in bed? Drop your age and your experience in the comments below, because honestly, many adults over 50 think they're alone in this struggle until they hear how common it really is. Now, here's where things become important. The dangerous sleep mistake doctors are increasingly worried about is not simply sleeping too little. It's chronically disrupting deep restorative sleep while believing some sleep is good enough. That distinction matters enormously, because biologically, the body does not repair itself equally during all stages of sleep. Deep sleep and REM sleep are where some of the most important recovery processes happen inside the human body. Blood pressure regulation, memory consolidation, immune coordination, hormonal repair, inflammation control, cellular cleanup, metabolic stabilization, brain detoxification, and after 50, those systems become even more important because aging bodies recover more slowly from stress and physiological damage. This is why fragmented sleep has become such a major concern in modern medicine. Not just short sleep. Fragmented sleep, repeated waking, late night screen exposure, irregular sleep schedules, sleeping with televisions on, excessive nighttime stimulation, alcohol before bed, untreated sleep apnea, chronic stress activation. All of these things interfere with the body's ability to enter deep, restorative sleep consistently. And unfortunately, Many adults normalize these habits for years. I remember one patient in his late 60s who came into clinic convinced he was simply getting old. He felt exhausted constantly. His memory felt slower. He became more irritable. His blood pressure was climbing. His blood sugar regulation was worsening. He felt mentally foggy almost every afternoon. But when we looked deeper into his routine, we discovered something surprising. He was sleeping with the television on every night, checking his phone repeatedly after midnight, waking several times to use the bathroom, and spending years in a state of severely fragmented sleep without realizing how much stress it was placing on his body. Once his sleep quality improved, many of his symptoms improved alongside it, not magically, not overnight, but noticeably. And honestly, stories like that are becoming increasingly common because one of the biggest misconceptions in modern health culture is that the body can simply push through chronic sleep disruption indefinitely. Biologically, that is not how the human body works. When deep sleep becomes impaired repeatedly, stress hormones begin rising, inflammation increases, blood sugar regulation becomes less stable, appetite hormones change, the nervous system becomes more reactive, the heart works harder, the immune system becomes less coordinated, and over time, the body begins functioning in a chronic state of low-grade physiological stress. Now, here's something many people never hear. Poor sleep after 50 does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels subtle. People simply feel off, less resilient, less patient, more emotionally reactive, more anxious, more forgetful, more exhausted after small tasks. And because those symptoms develop slowly, people often blame aging itself instead of looking at sleep quality. But researchers are increasingly finding that poor sleep may accelerate many of the exact health problems people associate with getting older. In fact, several major studies from institutions including Harvard Medical School and Johns Hopkins have shown strong links between chronic sleep disruption and increased cardiovascular risk, impaired cognitive performance, insulin resistance, obesity, depression, and neurodegenerative disease progression. Now, this does not mean every bad night of sleep is dangerous. That's important to say clearly. Everyone has stressful periods. Everyone sleeps poorly sometimes. The concern is chronic sleep disruption that becomes normalized over months or years. And honestly, one of the biggest hidden problems doctors are seeing right now is how many older adults have quietly accepted exhaustion as normal. They wake up tired every morning and stop questioning it. But the body often gives warning signs long before major health problems appear. Frequent daytime fatigue, morning headaches, snoring, brain fog, poor concentration, mood instability, increased sugar cravings, rising blood pressure, worsening anxiety, difficulty recovering physically. These things matter. Now let's talk about something doctors are paying far more attention to recently: sleep apnea. Because this is one of the most underdiagnosed sleep-related conditions in adults over 50. Many people think sleep apnea simply means loud snoring, but biologically, it can be far more serious than that. During sleep apnea episodes, breathing repeatedly becomes restricted or temporarily stops. Oxygen levels can drop, stress hormones surge, the heart experiences repeated strain, blood pressure spikes throughout the night, sleep architecture becomes severely disrupted, and often the person sleeping has no idea it's happening. I remember one woman in her early 70s who came in complaining mainly about fatigue and anxiety. She assumed stress was causing everything, but her husband casually mentioned something during the visit that completely changed the conversation. He said she stopped breathing repeatedly during sleep. That single observation led to further evaluation, and eventually severe sleep apnea was discovered. And once treatment began, her daytime exhaustion, blood pressure instability, and morning headaches improved dramatically. Again, this is not about creating fear. Most people with fatigue do not automatically have sleep apnea, but it shows how easily dangerous sleep problems can hide behind symptoms people dismiss as just stress or just aging. And honestly, this is why doctors are becoming increasingly vocal about sleep after 50, because sleep is not passive. The body is doing enormous amounts of biological work during the night. Now, here's another hidden issue many adults underestimate completely: late night screen exposure, phones, televisions, tablets, bright LED lighting. These things may seem harmless, but they can significantly interfere with melatonin regulation and circadian rhythm stability. And after enough disruption, the nervous system begins losing the consistent timing signals it depends on for healthy sleep cycles. I've seen many adults who technically spend 8 hours in bed but still wake up exhausted because their actual sleep quality is extremely poor. The body may never fully enter the restorative stages it needs, and this becomes even more important after 50 because circadian rhythms naturally become more fragile with age. Now, let's talk about another major issue doctors see constantly: alcohol before bed. Many people believe alcohol helps them sleep because it creates drowsiness initially. But biologically, alcohol often fragments sleep significantly during the second half of the night. It suppresses restorative REM sleep. It destabilizes breathing. It increases nighttime awakenings. It worsens sleep apnea in some individuals. And it often leaves people feeling less restored the following morning, even if they slept for many hours. This is one reason many adults wake up around 3 or 4 in the morning feeling suddenly alert, anxious, restless, or unable to fall back asleep after drinking alcohol in the evening. The nervous system becomes dysregulated as alcohol metabolism changes during the night. And unfortunately, many people begin using alcohol regularly as a sleep aid without realizing it may actually worsen long-term sleep quality. Now here's something even more important: the relationship between sleep and the brain. Because researchers now understand that the brain performs critical waste-clearing functions during deep sleep. Some researchers describe this almost like a nighttime cleaning system for the brain. And when deep sleep becomes chronically disrupted, scientists believe harmful protein accumulation and neuroinflammatory stress may increase over time. This is one reason poor sleep has become increasingly associated with cognitive decline and dementia risk in aging populations. Again, not every poor sleeper develops dementia, and sleep alone is not the only factor, but doctors are increasingly recognizing sleep quality as one piece of long-term brain health that deserves far more attention than it used to receive. And honestly, this may be one of the biggest mindset shifts happening in modern medicine right now. Sleep is no longer viewed simply as rest, it is viewed as active biological maintenance. Now let's discuss what healthy sleep protection actually looks like. And thankfully, most of the foundational strategies are surprisingly simple: consistent sleep schedules, reducing nighttime screen exposure, keeping bedrooms cool and dark, limiting heavy meals late at night, managing stress levels, reducing excessive caffeine late in the day, walking regularly, treating underlying medical conditions, getting evaluated for possible sleep apnea if symptoms exist, and perhaps most importantly, taking sleep seriously instead of treating it like an inconvenience. Because modern culture often glorifies exhaustion. People brag about functioning on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But biologically, chronic sleep deprivation places the body under continuous stress pressure. And after 50 recovery capacity changes, that matters. Now, I want to say something important here. This video is not telling people to panic over every poor night of sleep. That is not healthy either. The goal is not obsession. The goal is awareness. Balanced awareness. Because ironically, excessive anxiety about sleep can also worsen sleep quality. Doctors see that pattern constantly too. People become so focused on perfect sleep that they create additional stress around bedtime itself. The healthiest approach is usually calm consistency, not perfection, consistency. Now, here's the part I really want people to remember. If you constantly wake up exhausted, if your sleep feels fragmented, if you snore heavily, if your energy keeps declining, if you wake up gasping, if your concentration is worsening, if your blood pressure remains difficult to control, or if your body simply feels persistently different, don't ignore those signs forever. And don't automatically assume this is just aging. Sometimes the body is asking for attention long before serious problems appear. That does not mean something catastrophic is happening, but it does mean your health deserves evaluation, because one of the most dangerous things adults over 50 can do is normalize chronic exhaustion for years without ever looking deeper. And honestly, that may be the hidden truth doctors are trying hardest to communicate right now. The body often whispers long before it screams. So here's the final takeaway. Sleep is not wasted time. It is one of the most biologically active and protective processes the human body has. And after 50, protecting sleep may become one of the most important health decisions a person makes consistently over time. Not because perfect sleep guarantees perfect health, but because chronic sleep disruption quietly affects nearly every major system in the body: the brain, the heart, the immune system, the metabolism, the nervous system, even emotional resilience itself. So if your sleep feels persistently broken, take it seriously, calmly, responsibly, without panic. Talk to a qualified medical professional. Look at the full picture, support your body consistently, and remember that better health is often built quietly through stable daily habits most people underestimate. Because sometimes the most dangerous health problems do not begin loudly. Sometimes they begin night after night while the world is asleep.